Ladies and gentlemen, let's get one thing straight. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. It's the voice in your head that either pushes you forward or holds you back. It's the thing that makes you unstoppable or the thing that keeps you stuck in fear, doubt, and hesitation. And if you want to succeed in life, in business, in relationships, in anything, you need to develop a mindset that is unbreakable, a mindset that refuses to quit, a mindset that doesn't crumble under pressure. Because here's the truth. Life is tough. It's unfair. It will test you in ways you never expected. And most people break. They give up when things get hard. They let fear control them. They listen to the negative voices in their head and they stay stuck. But the people who win, the people who rise above, the people who achieve things that others only dream of, they don't let their circumstances define them. They don't let failure stop them. They train their minds to be strong, resilient, and unshakable. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that. 1. Stop negotiating with yourself. You know exactly what you need to do, but every single day you let that little voice in your head talk you out of it. You say you'll wake up early, and then your brain says 5 more minutes. You say you'll go to the gym, and then your brain says, I'm too tired. You say you'll work on your goals, and then your brain says, maybe tomorrow. That's the pattern that keeps you stuck. You have to learn to shut that voice down and take action anyway. Successful people don't negotiate with their excuses. They just do the work. 2, get comfortable being uncomfortable. A strong mindset is built in the moments where you want to quit but don't. It's built in the hard workouts, the tough conversations, the moments of doubt where you keep going anyway. Most people avoid discomfort. They choose the easy way out. But if you always choose comfort, you'll never grow. Push yourself to do the hard things. Train yourself to be okay with struggle, because the more you face difficulty, the stronger you become. 3, control your thoughts. Your brain is constantly feeding you thoughts. Some are good, some are bad, and most of them are just noise. But here's the thing. You don't have to believe every thought you think. You don't have to accept every doubt, every fear, every negative belief. The moment you start questioning your own thoughts, you take control. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, say, I can figure this out. Instead of thinking, what if I fail? Say, what if I succeed? The way you think determines the way you act. Train your brain to think in a way that serves you. 4, stop expecting motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll wake up feeling inspired, other days you won't. And if you wait for motivation, you'll never be consistent. The key to a strong mindset is discipline. Doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. 5, take responsibility for everything. The moment you blame something outside of yourself, your past, your circumstances, other people, you give away your power. Yes, life is unfair. Yes, bad things happen. But strong people don't waste time complaining. They take full responsibility for their actions, their mindset, and their future. Because when you take responsibility, you take control. And when you take control, you become unstoppable. 6, train yourself to keep moving forward. Most people stop when things get hard. They hit a roadblock and they turn back. But successful people, they keep going. They find another way. They adapt. They learn. They push through. No matter what happens, no matter how tough it gets, you keep moving forward. Because the only way to fail is to stop. 7, control your emotions. You will get frustrated. You will feel overwhelmed. People will test you. But if you let your emotions control you, you'll make decisions you regret. The key is to pause, take a breath, step back before reacting. When you learn to control your emotions, you learn to control your life. 8, surround yourself with strong-minded people. You are the average of the people you spend the most time with. If you're around negative, lazy, unmotivated people, that energy will rub off on you. But if you surround yourself with disciplined, driven, focused people, you will rise to their level. Choose your circle wisely. 9, develop a relentless work ethic. Nothing in life is given. Everything worth having is earned through effort, persistence, and grit. The people who succeed aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who work the hardest. Train yourself to outwork everyone. 10, never quit on yourself. At the end of the day, the most important thing is this: never quit. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how long it takes, keep going. You are stronger than you think, and if you refuse to give up, you will win. Conclusion: the truth is, developing a strong and unbreakable mindset is a choice. It's a decision you make every single day. It's built in the moments where you want to quit, but don't. It's built in the way you think, the way you act, and the way you show up for yourself. So, I have one question for you. Are you ready to step up? Are you ready to take control of your mind, your actions, and your future? Because the moment you decide to build an unbreakable mindset, your entire life will change. It's time to stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop negotiating with your own potential. Start now. Show up, do the work, and I promise you, your future self will thank you. Your mindset determines everything. The way you think controls the way you act, and the way you act controls the results you get in life. It's that simple. If you believe in yourself, you'll take action. If you doubt yourself, you'll hesitate. If you expect failure, you'll subconsciously sabotage your own success. But if you expect success, you'll find a way to make it happen. Your mind is the command center for your entire life, and if you don't train it to work for you, it will work against you. Most people don't realize that their thoughts are shaping their future every single day. They assume that life just happens to them, that their circumstances are out of their control, but that's not true. Your life is a direct reflection of the thoughts you think on a daily basis. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," you will find evidence to support that belief. You will shrink back from opportunities. You will settle for less, and you will stay stuck. But if you wake up every day with the belief that you can figure things out, that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way, you will start making different choices. You will take risks, you will put yourself out there, and you will start moving toward the life you actually want. Most people assume they have to feel confident before they take action. They think they need to wait until they feel ready, until the fear goes away, until they have more experience. That's not how it works. Confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. You don't become confident by thinking about doing something. You become confident by doing it. Every time you take action, even when you're scared, even when you're uncertain, you prove to yourself that you are capable. And over time, those small wins add up. The problem is most people never take that first step because they don't trust themselves. They let fear and self-doubt keep them paralyzed. If you want to change your life, you have to change the way you think. You have to reprogram the voice in your head. And the first step to doing that is becoming aware of what you're telling yourself on a daily basis. Most of the thoughts running through your mind aren't even yours. They're thoughts you picked up from your parents, from society, from past failures, from negative experiences. And unless you consciously question those thoughts, they will control you. The next time you catch yourself thinking something negative, stop and ask yourself, is this actually true? Or is this just a story I've been telling myself? When you change your thoughts, you change your actions. And when you change your actions, you change your life. But here's the thing. It's not enough to think positively once in a while. You have to train your brain every single day. Just like you go to the gym to train your body, you have to work on your mindset consistently. That means starting your day with positive thoughts. That means paying attention to your self-talk. That means replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones. It's a daily practice, and the more you do it, the stronger your mindset becomes. One of the most powerful things you can do is start speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love. Imagine if a friend came to you and said, "I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I can do this." You wouldn't say, "Yeah, you're probably right. You should just give up." No, you would remind them of their strengths. You would encourage them to keep going. You would remind them of all the times they've overcome obstacles before. So why don't you do that for yourself? Why is it so easy to lift other people up, but so hard to do the same for ourselves? You have to become your own biggest cheerleader. Because at the end of the day, the only voice that truly matters is the one inside your own head. The strongest minds in the world didn't get that way by accident. They built their mindset through practice. They trained themselves to think differently. They chose to believe in themselves even when they had no evidence to back it up. And because they believed in themselves, they took action. And because they took action, they created success. It all starts in the mind. If you want to change your life, start with the way you think. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, I want you to stop and challenge that thought. Every time you doubt yourself, remind yourself that you have overcome challenges before and you can do it again. Every time fear tells you to stay small, push yourself to take one small step forward anyway, because once you start rewiring your thoughts, everything in your life will begin to change. And the best part, you don't need anyone else's permission to do it. You can start right now. Most people think that strength comes from comfort. But that's not true. Strength is built in discomfort. Every time you push yourself beyond what feels easy, you grow. Every time you choose to face a challenge instead of avoiding it, you build resilience. And every time you step outside your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling more than you thought. The problem is that most people run from discomfort. They avoid difficult conversations, they shy away from hard work, they quit the moment things feel challenging, and that's exactly why they stay stuck. The truth is, discomfort is the price of growth. If you want to build a strong, unbreakable mindset, you have to train yourself to seek out challenges instead of avoiding them. You have to lean into the things that scare you. You have to stop waiting until you feel ready, because you will never feel ready. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you're stretched, tested, and pushed to your limits. And when you stop resisting discomfort and start embracing it, you unlock a new level of strength and confidence. Think about the moments in your life when you've grown the most. I guarantee they weren't the easy moments. They were the moments that forced you to step up. Maybe it was a time you had to deal with failure. Maybe it was a time you had to push through fear. Maybe it was a time you had no idea what you were doing, but you figured it out anyway. Those moments are the ones that shaped you. And if you look back, you'll realize that every time you faced a challenge, you came out strong. The problem is that most people don't recognize this in the moment. When things get tough, they panic. They start telling themselves a story that something is wrong. They start looking for the easiest way out. And because of that, they miss out on the opportunity to grow. Instead of looking at challenges as something to escape, what if you started looking at them as proof that you are growing? What if, instead of running from discomfort, you leaned into it? What if you trained yourself to get excited every time something felt difficult, because you knew that meant you were getting stronger? Your ability to handle discomfort is directly linked to your ability to succeed in life. Think about the people who achieve extraordinary things. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. They all have one thing in common. They don't let discomfort stop them. They push through the pain. They do the work even when they don't feel like it. They stay committed even when it gets hard. And because of that, they build a level of mental toughness that makes them unstoppable. The good news is, mental toughness is not something you're born with. It's something you build. And you build it by training yourself to do hard things every single day. You build it by pushing yourself to wake up early when you want to sleep in. You build it by showing up even when you don't feel motivated. You build it by choosing growth over comfort, over and over again. And the more you do it, the stronger you become. Most people never reach their full potential because they give up too soon. They hit a roadblock and they assume it means they're not meant to succeed. But roadblocks are not signs to stop. They are signs that you are on the right path. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to level up. Every time you push through fear, you build confidence. Every time you refuse to quit, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuse. The moment you decide that you are willing to get uncomfortable, your entire life will change. You will stop making excuses. You will stop waiting for the perfect moment. You will stop holding yourself back, and you will start moving forward with the kind of mindset that cannot be broken. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't go to the smartest person. It goes to the person who refuses to quit, the person who is willing to do the hard things, the person who understands that discomfort is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. So the next time you feel like giving up, remind yourself that this is where growth happens. The next time something feels hard, remind yourself that this is how you build strength. The next time fear tries to stop you, remind yourself that the only way to fail is to quit. Because the truth is, you can handle more than you think. And the moment you start acting like it, you will prove it to yourself. The way you talk to yourself shapes everything in your life. Your inner dialogue influences your confidence, your actions, and ultimately your success. The problem is most people don't even realize how much negative self-talk is holding them back. They go through life with a voice in their head that constantly tells them they're not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough. And the worst part, they believe it. Every single day, you are feeding your brain a story about who you are and what you're capable of. If that story is filled with self-doubt, fear, and negativity, you will subconsciously act in ways that reinforce those beliefs. You'll hesitate when opportunities come your way. You'll talk yourself out of taking risks. You'll convince yourself that success is for other people, not for you. And over time, those negative thoughts will become your reality. But here's the truth. Your thoughts are not facts. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. That voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, it's lying to you. That voice that tells you you're going to fail is trying to keep you safe. But in reality, it's keeping you stuck. And if you don't take control of that voice, it will control you. The first step to rewiring negative self-talk is awareness. Most people have been thinking the same way for so long that they don't even question it anymore. They assume their thoughts are just the way things are. But that's not true. Your thoughts are habits, and like any habit, they can be changed. Start paying attention to the things you say to yourself on a daily basis. Notice the patterns. Do you constantly criticize yourself? Do you assume the worst? Do you focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right? The moment you start noticing your negative self-talk, you take the first step toward changing it. Once you become aware of your negative thoughts, you have to challenge them. Instead of just accepting them as truth, start questioning them. If you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, stop and ask yourself, why not? Is there actual evidence that you can't? Or is it just fear talking? If you think, I always mess things up, remind yourself of times when you got things right. If you think, I'm not good enough, ask yourself, good enough for what? Says who? When you start questioning your own thoughts, you realize that most of them have no real basis. They're just stories you've been telling yourself, and you have the power to rewrite them. The next step is to replace those negative thoughts with more empowering ones. This isn't about fake positivity or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about choosing thoughts that support you instead of ones that tear you down. Instead of thinking, I'm not ready, tell yourself, I will figure it out. Instead of thinking, I'll probably fail, say, I'll learn something no matter what happens. Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, remind yourself, I have everything I need to succeed. The words you use matter. Speak to yourself the way you would speak to someone you love, because if you wouldn't say it to a friend, why are you saying it to yourself? One of the best ways to rewire negative self-talk is through action. Your brain believes what you repeatedly do. So if you constantly tell yourself that you're not capable, but then prove to yourself that you are by taking action, your mind will start to shift. Confidence isn't something you think your way into, it's something you build through action. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, every time you push through fear, every time you show yourself that you are stronger than your doubts, you weaken that negative voice in your head. This isn't something that changes overnight. You've spent years, maybe even decades, reinforcing negative self-talk. It's a habit, and like any habit, it takes time to break. But the more you practice catching your negative thoughts, challenging them, and replacing them with empowering ones, the easier it gets. And over time, you will start to notice a shift. You'll feel more confident, you'll take more risks, you'll stop holding yourself back, and most importantly, you'll start to believe in yourself in a way you never have before. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It can either work for you or against you. The choice is yours. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of letting self-doubt control you, if you're ready to step into the version of yourself that you know deep down you're capable of becoming, then start now. Start paying attention to the way you talk to yourself. Start questioning your negative thoughts. Start choosing thoughts that lift you up instead of ones that tear you down. And most importantly, start taking action. Because the more you prove to yourself that you are capable, the quieter that negative voice becomes. And when you master your self-talk, you master your life. Most people wait for motivation before they take action. They think they need to feel inspired, excited, or confident before they start, but that's not how it works. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. If you depend on motivation to get things done, you will never be consistent. You'll only take action when you feel like it, and that's exactly why so many people struggle to follow through. They start a new goal with excitement, but the moment the excitement fades, they stop. And then they tell themselves a story about how they're not disciplined enough or not capable enough, when in reality, they were just waiting for the wrong thing. If you want to develop a strong and unbreakable mindset, you have to stop waiting for motivation and start creating momentum. Momentum is what keeps you moving forward even when you don't feel like it. It's what separates people who achieve their goals from people who just talk about them. And the secret to creating momentum? Small, consistent actions. Not big, dramatic changes. Not waiting for the perfect moment. Just showing up and doing something, anything, every single day. Most people think that success requires massive action all at once. They assume they need to overhaul their entire life overnight. But the truth is, it's the small things you do every day that create the biggest impact. One workout doesn't make you fit, but working out consistently over time does. One healthy meal doesn't transform your body, but making better food choices every day does. One productive day doesn't change your career, but showing up and doing the work consistently. The small things matter, and when you do them every day, they add up. The problem is most people give up too soon. They expect immediate results, they start something new, and if they don't see progress right away, they quit. They assume it's not working or that they're not capable. But what they don't realize is that success isn't about instant gratification. It's about persistence. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who keep going even when they don't see results right away. They're the ones who trust the process, who stay consistent, who keep showing up no matter what. This is why discipline is more important than motivation. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when you'd rather sleep in. Discipline is what makes you go to the gym even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is what pushes you to keep working even when progress feels slow. And the best part, discipline is a skill. It's not something you're born with. It's something you develop through practice. The more you train yourself to take action, regardless of how you feel, the stronger your discipline becomes. And the stronger your discipline, the more unstoppable you become. One of the best ways to build discipline is to eliminate decision-making. Every time you have to decide whether or not to do something, you give yourself an opportunity to back out. You start negotiating with yourself. Should I work out today? Maybe I'll do it later. Maybe I'll skip just this once. And before you know it, you've talked yourself out of it. That's why successful people create routines and habits. They take decision-making out of the equation. They don't waste time thinking about whether or not to take action. They just do it. If you struggle with discipline, start by setting small, non-negotiable commitments. Instead of saying, I'll work out for an hour every day, start with 10 minutes. Instead of saying, I'll read a book a week, start with 5 pages a day. The key is to make it so small that it's impossible to fail. Because once you build the habit of showing up, you create momentum. And momentum is what keeps you going. Another important part of building discipline is learning how to push through resistance. There will always be days when you don't feel like it. There will always be moments when your mind tells you to quit. That's normal. The mistake most people make is believing that resistance means stop. They assume that if something feels hard, it means they're not supposed to do it. But that's not true. Resistance is actually a sign that you're on the right track. If you want to grow, if you want to get better, you have to push through the discomfort. You have to show yourself that you can take action even when you don't feel like it. This is where the 5-second rule comes in. The moment you feel resistance, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. Don't think about it. Don't hesitate. Just take action. Your brain will always try to talk you out of doing the hard things. It will always look for an excuse. But if you act before your brain has time to argue, you bypass that hesitation. You take control. And the more you do this, the easier it gets. At the end of the day, the people who succeed are not the ones who wait for motivation. They are the ones who create momentum. They are the ones who take action even when they don't feel like it. They are the ones who stay disciplined, who show up every day, who push through resistance no matter what. And when you train yourself to do the same, you become unstoppable. Because motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. Fear is the number one thing that holds people back from achieving their full potential. It stops them from taking risks, from speaking up, from stepping outside their comfort zone. Fear keeps people stuck in jobs they hate, in relationships that aren't fulfilling, in lives that feel small. But here's the truth. Fear is not real. It's a story your brain creates to keep you safe. It's a survival mechanism designed to protect you from danger. But in today's world, most of what we fear isn't life-threatening. It's just uncomfortable. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of embarrassment, fear of what other people will think. None of these things will kill you, but your brain treats them as if they will. That's why when you think about doing something outside your comfort zone, you feel that rush of anxiety, your heart races, your palms sweat, your mind starts coming up with 100 reasons why you shouldn't do it. And if you listen to that fear, you'll stay exactly where you are. The good news is fear is a habit. It's not something you're born with. It's something you learn. And just like any habit, it can be broken. The key is learning to take action in spite of fear, because courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Every successful person you admire has felt fear. Every athlete, every entrepreneur, every leader, they've all faced moments of doubt and fear. The difference is they didn't let it stop them. The mistake most people make is waiting until they feel ready. They tell themselves, I'll do it when I feel more confident. I'll start when I have more experience. I'll take action when the fear goes away. But that's not how it works. You don't wait until you feel ready. You take action, and that's what makes you ready. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Every time you push through fear, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. And the more you do it, the less power fear has over you. One of the best ways to train yourself to overcome fear is by taking small risks every day. If you're afraid of speaking up in meetings, challenge yourself to say one thing. If you're afraid of rejection, practice putting yourself out there in low-stakes situations. If you're afraid of failure, set a small goal and go after it, knowing that even if you fail, you'll learn something valuable. The key is to get comfortable, because the more you expose yourself to fear, the more you realize that it's not as scary as you thought. Another powerful way to overcome fear is to change your relationship with it. Most people see fear as a stop sign. They assume that if they feel afraid, it means they shouldn't do something. But what if fear was actually a green light? What if fear was a signal that you're about to grow? Think about it. When do you feel the most fear? When you're about to do something important, when you're stepping into the unknown, when you're challenging yourself in a way that could change your life. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a sign that you're on the right track. The next time you feel fear, instead of running from it, lean into it. Say to yourself, this is a good thing. This means I'm growing. This means I'm doing something that matters. When you stop fighting fear and start embracing it, it loses its power over you. It no longer controls your decisions. And that's when you start living life on your terms. One of the biggest fears people have is failure. They're so afraid of making mistakes, of looking stupid, of not being perfect, that they never even try. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every successful person has failed. Every person at the top of their field has had setbacks, rejections, and losses. The difference is they didn't let failure define them. They used it as fuel. They learned from it. They got back up and kept going. Think about a baby learning to walk. They don't stand up and immediately start running. They fall over and over again. But they don't sit there and say, well, I guess walking isn't for me. No, they keep trying, they adjust, they learn, and eventually They figure it out. That's how success works. You try, you fail, you learn, and you try again. The only way to fail is to quit. At the end of the day, fear will always be there. It's never going to disappear completely. But you don't have to let it control you. You can train yourself to act in spite of it. You can reframe it as a sign that you're doing something meaningful. You can remind yourself that fear is just a story your brain is telling you, and you have the power to write a new one.